What's going on, guys? Recently posted a few of these linen micarta scraper handles for sale, and I've since gotten a couple of questions that I wanted to make a quick video on to clarify a few things that maybe weren't quite as clear in just the pictures or the ad text alone. So first things first, this is what you're going to be getting in the mail if you purchase one of these. I've chosen to ship them without a blade, simply for safety precautions to keep from potentially cutting or stabbing you or your mailman. So this is what you are going to get. And as far as what blades or what type of blade that these take, I've designed these to use a standard utility style blade or a Stanley knife blade. Just like this. And I know there's a handful of different configurations, 2-notch, 3-notch, 4-notch. Some of them have holes and things in them. Really, any of those should work as long as it's this basic shape, kind of a trapezoidal shape. And as long as it's about 20 to 25 thousandths thick or so, which is your standard blade thickness. They do come a little bit thicker sometimes. Those should work as well. But they were designed for your standard utility knife blade. Now, as far as installation goes, it's really quite simple. You've got a single clamping screw here that I'm actually going to take all the way out just to show you a couple of additional details here. If you take the clamping piece off and look closely here, there's actually a tiny little ledge or a lip right at the end of the handle body. And that's to help position as well as index your blade before you tighten your clamping piece down. Now, as far as positioning this, you basically just want to center it on the handle between the corners, or put the middle of the blade right above your screw hole there. And it's a little bit easier to do with the clamp in place. So we're going to center it up. And then you want to run the screw in until it just starts to tighten. Make sure you're against that lip and centered. And then you just want to give it maybe an additional quarter turn or so. You really don't have to crank down on these. And if you do crank down too much, you could potentially strip these threads out. Though they are quite strong, this material is quite durable and does take a thread very nicely. But just keep in mind, you really don't have to crank down on these, to try to twist the screw head off or anything. Just a little bit of pressure and then an additional small turn. And these things are very secure. They're not going anywhere. And that's basically it for the blade installation. And again, any standard utility knife style blade should work just fine. I imagine you could probably use some other types of blades as well with this, but it was originally designed for use with your typical Stanley knife blade or utility knife blade. Now, as far as a couple of things you can do with this, obviously it works great as a scraper, whether you want to drag it, to kind of clean surfaces off, or push it. Works just fine for that. I also like to use it almost with like a pencil grip. You could use it to slice things, mark things, whether you want to drag it this way or that way. You could use it as a push knife. Works very well for that. Even spreading like wood filler and stuff, it works really well for that. And there's just all kinds of different uses I'm constantly finding for these things out in the shop or even in the home. So I appreciate you guys for looking at these, and certainly for those of you who have decided to purchase one. I really think you're going to enjoy it, and I think it's going to be a tool that you're constantly reaching for any number of tasks around the home or shop. So just a few additional details for you guys. If anybody has any more questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll try to answer them as quickly and as thoroughly as possible. So thanks again, guys. We'll see you.